I made you, and I own you, you little piece of shit. You answer to me, and you do whatever the hell I say. Understood? 7 months of living in fear. What started as a beautiful love story grew to become a horror in a flash, scarier than the stories told at night around the campfire. Black eyes, strong grips, shattered glasses, the screams and hidden bruises. This was the story of Cassidy Grant. It all took a different dimension in a half-empty restaurant in Gangnam when she heard those words again. You're dead when we get home. But this time, someone was listening. Someone who didn't look away when her hands shook. Someone whose dark eyes had been tracking her boyfriend's every move. And when he stood from his table across the room, Cassidy understood. Some men see suffering and ignore it. Others see it and decide it ends tonight. This story will show you that real strength isn't about power or control. It's about choosing to be vulnerable with someone who will guard that vulnerability with their life. If you are yet to support my channel, please do well to hit the subscribe icon and subscribe to my channel. Also like and share my videos to as many people who needs to see it. Only you can make it grow with just one click. I'd be forever grateful if you spare me that 1 second and hit the subscribe button. Thank you. The wine glass slipped off Cassidy's trembling hands. Red liquid spread across the white linen tablecloth like blood, and Choi Min-jae's face went from charming to murderous in half a second. "Clumsy girl," he said through his smile, still waving at the waiter. "We'll talk about this at home." Her hands shook as she pressed napkins against the stain, heart hammering. 7 months. 7 months since he'd started showing his real face, and she still didn't know how to leave. Her visa depended on him. Her apartment lease had his name on it, her phone plan, her bank account. He'd woven himself into every corner of her life and soul. "I'm sorry," she whispered, hating how small her voice sounded. "You will be." His fingers dug into her thigh beneath the table. "When we get home, you're dead." The word hit her like ice water. She'd heard it before. Last week when she'd smiled at a cashier. 2 weeks ago when she'd worn the wrong dress. But tonight felt different, probably because his grip was tighter, his eyes colder, and she'd already seen the bruises he could leave where nobody would notice. "Excuse me." The voice came from above them, smooth and deep, carrying a quiet authority that seemed to settle the entire room. Cassidy looked up and forgot how to breathe. The man standing beside their table was overwhelming. Not just tall, though he was that. Not just handsome, though his face could have been sculpted from stone by someone who understood what power looked like. It was something else, something in the way he held himself, the way the entire restaurant seemed to shift around him like he was the center of gravity. His dark eyes met hers for exactly 2 seconds, and her heart sank. "I believe," the man said, still looking at her, "the lady needs assistance." Choi Min-jae's hand left her thigh. His whole demeanor changed, going tense and alert. "We're fine, thanks. Just a little accident. I wasn't asking you." Those dark eyes finally shifted to Min-jae, and Cassidy watched her boyfriend actually flinch. "I was informing you." 2 men in dark suits materialized behind the stranger. Min-jae stood quickly, nearly knocking over his chair. "Look, I don't know who you think you are." Kang Ji-woo. The name dropped like a stone into water, ripples spreading through the nearby tables. People turned, then quickly looked away. "And you are?" Min-jae's face went pale. Cassidy had never seen him afraid of anything. "We were just leaving," Min-jae said, reaching for Cassidy's arm. Ji-woo caught his wrist mid-motion. The movement was so fast that Cassidy almost missed it. But the sound Min-jae made, a small, choked gasp that she didn't miss. "No," Ji-woo said softly. "She stays. You leave." "What is wrong with you, man? What's your business? She's my girlfriend and she's her own person." Ji-woo released Min-jae's wrist, and Cassidy saw red marks already forming. "And she's no longer yours. Leave now, and you won't miss a tooth. Stay, and..." He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Well, you would be needing a dentist." Min-jae looked at Cassidy, and she saw murder in his expression. But Ji-woo stepped between them. blocking Minjai's view entirely. Touch her again, threaten her again, even think about her again. His voice dropped lower. And I'll make sure you regret being born. The restaurant had gone completely silent. Minjai grabbed his jacket and walked out fast, not looking back. Cassidy sat frozen, unable to process what just happened. This stranger, this terrifying man who'd made her boyfriend run like a scared dog, was now looking at her with something that wasn't quite concern, but wasn't cold either. Are you injured? Jiwoo asked. She shook her head, not trusting her voice. Your wrist. She looked down. Bruises were already forming where Minjai had grabbed her under the table. She hadn't even noticed the pain until now. Jiwoo's jaw tightened, just slightly, but the temperature in the room seemed to drop 10 degrees. He gestured to one of his men, said something in rapid Korean, then turned back to Cassidy. May I? He indicated the chair Minjai had abandoned. She nodded. He sat with fluid grace, somehow making the small restaurant chair look like a throne. Up close, he was even more overwhelming. Probably early 30s, with dark hair touched with silver at the temples, a jaw that could cut glass, and those eyes. God, those eyes saw everything. What's your name? He asked. Cassidy. Her voice came out hoarse. Cassidy Grant. American? Yes, Black American. How long have you been in Seoul? 6 months. And him? She hesitated. Something about Jiwoo made her want to tell the truth, but old habits died hard. We've been together for a year. That's not what I asked. Jiwoo leaned back slightly, studying her face. How long has he been hurting you? The question hit her in the chest. Nobody had asked. Not her friends back home who she'd stopped calling. Not the neighbor who definitely heard them fighting. Not the colleague who'd noticed her wearing long sleeves in summer. She started to deny it, then stopped. What was the point? This man had just watched Minjai threaten her. 7 months. Jiwoo nodded slowly, like she'd confirmed something he already knew. Your visa is through him. How did he? Yes, she answered. Not anymore. He pulled out his phone, typed something, then set it down. My lawyers will contact you tomorrow. You'll have independent status by the end of the week. Cassidy stared at him. What? Why would you? Because no one should be trapped. His voice was matter-of-fact, but something flickered in his eyes, especially not for paperwork. A waiter appeared with fresh tea, cleared the broken glass, and replaced the tablecloth. Jiwoo said something in Korean that made the waiter nod and hurry away. Moments later, the waiter appeared with a tray of assorted meals. Cassidy looked up confused. I didn't order anything, Cassidy said weakly. I did. You need to eat, Jiwoo cut in. Thanks, mister, but I'm not hungry. You're shaking. Jiwoo's voice was gentle but firm. When did you last have a real meal? She couldn't remember. Minjai controlled when they ate, what they ate, and how much she ate. This morning. Maybe. Jiwoo's expression didn't change, but something dangerous flashed through his eyes. Eat, Jiwoo said. I'll make sure he doesn't come back. Tears clouded Cassidy's eyes. You don't understand. Her voice cracked. He knows where I live. He has keys. He'll do nothing. Jiwoo pulled out his phone again and made a call. Afterwards, he turned to her. You're staying at the Grand Hyatt tonight. Tomorrow my people will move your belongings to a new apartment. He won't find you. I can't afford. I didn't ask what you could afford. Jiwoo's tone wasn't harsh, just final. Eat, Cassidy. She couldn't believe her eyes. Tales like these only happened in Disney World, where a charming prince comes to rescue a princess in distress. But she wasn't one. Cassidy picked up her chopsticks with trembling hands. The meal was incredible, probably the best thing she'd tasted in months. Midway into her meal, she dropped her chopsticks and looked up at him. Why? She finally asked. Jiwoo was quiet for a long moment. He picked up his glass of barley tea, swirled it once, set it down without drinking. Because I understand what it's like, he said carefully, to feel powerless. And I never want to see that look on someone's face again. There was a story there, a deep one. But before Cassidy could ask, Jiwoo stood. Finish eating, Junho will drive you to the hotel. He gestured to one of the men in dark suits. Your room is under my name. Order whatever you need. Tomorrow, we'll discuss next steps. I don't even know you, Cassidy said, hating how her voice shook. Jiwoo smiled, and this time it almost reached his eyes. You will. For now, I am your guidance angel. Then he was gone, moving through the restaurant like water, people unconsciously stepping aside to let him pass. Cassidy sat alone at the table, chopsticks frozen halfway, trying to understand what just happened. The man called Junho approached. He was younger than Jiwoo, maybe late 20s, with kind eyes. Ms. Grant, he said in careful English, are you ready? She wasn't. She'd probably never be ready, but she nodded anyway. Later that night, in a hotel room, Cassidy stood at the window, looking out over Seoul. The city glittered like scattered diamonds, beautiful, foreign, and suddenly full of possibility. Her phone buzzed. It was a text from Minjae. Her stomach sank. Where the hell are you? She was still staring at it when another came in. You think you can just leave? You think He can protect you? I'll find you. And when I do... The messages kept coming, each one more threatening than the last. Cassidy's hands shook so badly she nearly dropped the phone. She leaned against the glass wall with her hand over her mouth. She knew this was going to go wrong, but not so soon. Then the shock came. Fuck! She jerked. Her phone rang. She almost didn't answer, but somehow she closed her eyes and slid her finger across the screen before pressing the phone against her ear. Cassidy. Her breath caught and suddenly released. It was Jiwoo's voice, calm and steady. I need you to block his number so he can't reach you anymore. Do not get the door unless you hear my voice or Junho's. Why? What's going on? He didn't leave town after I warned him to. He's around and pissed, but I do not want you worrying about a loser. I'm gonna keep you safe, okay? He'll come back, Cassidy whispered. He won't. Trust me. Jiwoo sounded absolutely certain. But if he tries to... He paused. Just go to bed, Cassidy. You're safe. Why are you doing this? Cassidy sobbed. For a moment, there was no response. Cassidy thought he'd hung up. Because you reminded me of someone, Jiwoo finally said. And I couldn't save her. But maybe I can save you. The line went dead. Cassidy stood there, phone pressed to her ear, tears streaming down her face. She didn't know this man. Didn't know if she could trust him. Didn't know if accepting his help was trading one cage for another, but for the first time in 7 months, she felt like she could breathe. The next morning came too fast. Cassidy woke to sunlight streaming through the glass house, with a moment of panic when she couldn't remember where she was. Then it all came back. Minjae, Jiwoo, the restaurant. Her phone showed 20 missed calls. Her phone caller ID identified it was from Minjae, all from different numbers. He'd figured out she'd blocked him. You'll regret this. Nobody leaves me. That Korean bastard can't protect you forever. A knock at the door made her jump. Ms. Grant? A woman's voice, soft and professional. I'm bringing breakfast. Cassidy opened the door to find a woman in her 50s, elegant and composed, wheeling in a cart laden with food. Fresh fruit. Hot to you. A French press of coffee that smelled like heaven. Mr. Kang asked me to inform you, the woman said in perfect English, that your belongings are being moved this morning. He'll meet you at noon to show you the new apartment. I didn't agree to. He anticipated you might say that. The woman smiled gently. Don't be scared. Mr. Kang is a good man. She said, wheeling in the food cart. Cassidy sank onto the bed. This is too much. Mr. Kang rarely does things by halves. The woman poured coffee, added cream without asking how Cassidy took it. Eat, please. You have a long day ahead. She left before Cassidy could argue. The coffee was perfect. Everything about this situation was both perfect and terrifying. At exactly noon, Junho appeared to escort her downstairs. The lobby was all marble and gleaming steel, the kind of place Cassidy had only seen in Korean dramas. A black Genesis waited outside, and standing beside it was Jiwoo. He looked different in daylight. Still overwhelming, still clearly powerful, but there was something softer in his expression when he saw her. "How did you sleep?" he asked. "I didn't," Cassidy admitted. Minjae kept calling from new numbers. Jiwoo smiled with kind eyes. His phone service just got shut down across Asia. He won't bother you again. What? She was still trying to process the information when Jiwoo opened the car door for her. "Get in." Cassidy hesitated. This was insane. This man was rearranging her life, making decisions without asking, acting like he owned the world. But he'd also saved her. She got in the car, and they drove off. The apartment was in a building in Mapogu that screamed wealth and security. Doormen, cameras, a lobby with actual artwork. Jiwoo led her to the top floor, unlocked a door and stepped aside. "After you," he said. Cassidy walked into the most beautiful apartment she'd ever seen. Open floor plan, a modern kitchen with pale oak cabinets, huge windows. Her furniture, what little she'd had, was already arranged. But there was new furniture too, a proper couch, a real dining table, linen curtains that diffused the afternoon light like something from a magazine. "This is too much," she said again. "It's safe." Jiwoo walked to the windows, tested the locks. Cameras in the hallway, security at the front desk, and Junho will check on you daily until you're comfortable. "I can't afford this." "You're not paying for it." "Jiwoo, the rent is covered for a year." He turned to face her, his expression unreadable. "After that, we'll see where you are. Your visa situation will be resolved by Friday. You're free to stay in Korea, or leave, your choice." Cassidy's throat tightened. "Why are you being so kind to me?" Jiwoo was quiet for a long moment, studying her face like he was memorizing it. "Because," he finally said, "someone was kind to me once, when I had nothing, and I've spent 20 years trying to pay that forward." There was that story again, lurking beneath the surface. "Who was she?" Cassidy asked softly. "The person I remind you of?" Jiwoo's face closed off. "Someone I lost." He didn't elaborate. Instead, he walked to the door, paused with his hand on the handle. "There's food in the fridge, new phone on the counter. Your number's the same, but the device is untraceable. Junho's number is programmed in. Mine too." He pulled a card from his pocket, set it on the table. "Anything you need, anything at all, you call." "I don't know how to thank you." Jiwoo turned and looked at her. His lips quaked slightly, like he was about to spill the real reason he was being kind. Cassidy felt it too, like something was shifting, breaking open, letting light in. "Don't thank me yet," he said quietly. "Just be safe." Then he was gone. The days that followed blurred together. Jiwoo didn't visit, but his presence was everywhere. The lawyer who showed up to help with her visa spoke about him like he was some kind of saint. The security guard who gave her a new set of keys mentioned that Mr. Kang had personally interviewed him. Even the woman at the corner cafe in Mapo seemed to know she was under Jiwoo's protection and insisted her coffee was on the house. "He's a good man," the cafe owner said. "Hard, yes. Dangerous, yes. But good to those he cares for." Cassidy wanted to argue that Jiwoo didn't care for her, that they'd met once and he was just being charitable. But the words stuck in her throat. A week after moving in, she finally got brave enough to use the number he'd given her. Not because she needed anything, just because she wanted to say thank you properly. He answered on the first ring. "Cassidy." Just her name, but the way he said it made her stomach flip. "I wanted to thank you," she said quickly, before she lost her nerve. "For everything. The apartment, the visa, the... Are you safe? Yes. Then that's all I need." A pause. "How are you adjusting?" "It's strange," she admitted, "being able to just exist without someone watching every move. That's not strange, that's normal." Jiwoo's voice was gentle. "You'll remember that eventually." Cassidy twisted the phone cord around her finger. "Will I see you again?" There was silence on the other end, long enough that her heart started to sink. "Do you want to?" Jiwoo finally asked. "Yes." The word came out before she could think about it. "I mean, you've done so much, and I don't really know you. and that seems wrong somehow. Tomorrow night, Jiwoo said. There's a gallery opening in Insadong. Nothing formal, just art and tea, if you'd like to come. Like a date, like two people who might enjoy the same paintings. He sounded almost amused. Junho will pick you up at 7. He hung up before she could respond. Cassidy stared at her phone, heart racing. This was stupid. This was insane. This man was clearly dangerous, clearly powerful, clearly way out of her league in every possible way. But she wanted to see him again. God help her, she really wanted to see him again. If you are enjoying this story already and you are yet to subscribe, please hit the subscribe button right now and tell me in the comments where you are watching from. The gallery opening was exactly as Jiwoo described, intimate, elegant, full of people who moved through the Insadong space like they belonged there. Cassidy felt wildly out of place in her simple black dress, until Jiwoo appeared at her elbow, and suddenly nothing else mattered. He was in a dark suit, no tie, looking like he'd stepped out of a fashion editorial. But it was his eyes that caught her, warm when they landed on her face. "You came," he said. "Well, you invited me." She scoffed. "I thought you might change your mind." He offered his arm. "Come, there's a piece I want you to see." He led her through the gallery, past inkwash paintings and abstract sculptures that probably cost more than her education. People nodded to Jiwoo as they passed, some with respect, some with poorly hidden fear. He ignored them all. The painting he stopped at was massive. A storm over the East Sea, dark and violent and somehow beautiful. "What do you think?" Jiwoo asked. Cassidy studied it. "It's angry." "Is it?" Jiwoo tilted his head. "I've always thought it was desperate." "Desperate how?" "The storm wants to reach the shore. The ocean wants to touch the sky. But they're separated by something neither can cross." He glanced at her. "Wanting something you can't have makes people angry. But underneath, it's usually just desperation." Cassidy's breath caught. They weren't talking about the painting anymore. "Is that how you see the world?" she asked carefully. "Sometimes." Jiwoo's voice was quiet. "When I was younger, I thought power could bridge any gap. Now I know better." "What changed?" He looked at her then, and the intensity in his gaze made her knees weak. "I learned that some things can't be forced. Some things have to choose you back." The gallery suddenly felt too small, too warm. Cassidy stepped back slightly, needing distance to breathe. Jiwoo noticed. He stepped back too, giving her space. "I'm making you uncomfortable," he said. "No. Yes. Maybe." Cassidy laughed shakily. "I don't know. You're just a lot." "I know." Jiwoo smiled slightly. "I've been told I'm overwhelming. That's one word for it. What's another?" "Terrifying, magnetic, impossible to look away from." "Intense." Cassidy settled on. "I can be less intense." "Can you though?" Jiwoo laughed, an actual laugh, and the sound transformed his entire face. Suddenly he didn't look dangerous at all. He looked human, warm, real. "Probably not," he admitted, "but I can try." They wandered through the rest of the gallery, Jiwoo pointing out pieces he liked, Cassidy slowly relaxing in his presence. He didn't touch her, didn't crowd her space, but she was hyper-aware of him beside her, the way he moved, the way he spoke to her like her opinions mattered, the way other people gave them a wide berth. "Who are you really?" she finally asked. "I know your name. I know you're powerful. But who are you?" Jiwoo was quiet for a long moment. They'd stopped in front of a painting of Seoul at night, all neon and shadows. "I'm someone who's made a lot of mistakes," he said finally. "Someone who's done things he's not proud of. Someone who's trying, maybe failing, to be better than what he was born to be." "That's not an answer. It's the only one I can give you right now." Jiwoo turned to face her fully. "I want to know you, Cassidy. I want to understand what makes you laugh, what keeps you up at night, what you dream about. But I also want you to feel safe, and if knowing more about me makes you feel unsafe, I'd rather you stay in the dark." Cassidy's chest tightened. "That's not fair. Life rarely is. I want to know anyway." "Why?" Because you saved me. The words came out in a rush. And I don't know if I can trust you, but I want to. I want to, Jiwoo. Even though it's probably stupid and dangerous and… It is. Jiwoo's voice was rough. Knowing me is dangerous. Being close to me puts a target on your back. I should walk away right now. I should let you build a new life without my shadow over it. But I'm selfish. He took a step closer, still not touching. I'm selfish, and I want to know you too. Even though I shouldn't, even though it's unfair to you. Cassidy could feel her heart pounding. So what do? We take it slow. Jiwoo's hand lifted, hesitated, then gently touched her cheek. Just a brush of fingers, there and gone. We see if you still want this, when you know the whole truth. And if you don't, I let you go. And if I do… Jiwoo's eyes darkened. Then God help us both. The weeks that followed felt like walking a tightrope. Jiwoo would appear at random times, never intrusive, but always there. Coffee on Tuesday morning, at her favorite cafe in Yeonam-dong. A book she'd mentioned wanting to read left at her doorstep, flowers with no card, but she knew. He never pushed, never demanded, just existed in her orbit, patient and steady and absolutely maddening. Cassidy tried to research him online. Found business articles about the Kang Group, photos from charity events, mentions of the Kang family's vast business interests in vague, careful language. Nothing concrete, nothing that explained why people looked at him with fear and respect in equal measure. You won't find answers there, Junho said one afternoon. Then where will I find them? Junho smiled sadly. You'll have to ask him yourself. But when Jiwoo showed up that evening, unannounced as always, Cassidy couldn't make the words come. He looked tired, she realized. Actually tired, with shadows under his eyes and tension in his shoulders. Bad day? She asked instead. Jiwoo settled into her couch like he belonged there. Long day. There's a difference. Want to talk about it? Not particularly. He looked at her, and something in his expression softened. I just wanted to see you. The honesty in those words hit her straight in the chest. Why? Because you make the world quieter. Jiwoo leaned his head back, eyes closed. Everything else is noise and politics and people wanting things. But you're just you. It's refreshing. Cassidy sat beside him, careful to leave space between them. I want things too. Do you? I want to understand you. Jiwoo opened his eyes, turned his head to look at her. Why? Because you're in my head. The confession spilled out before she could stop it. I think about you constantly. Wonder where you are, what you're doing, if you're safe. And I barely know you. It's driving me crazy. Cassidy. I know it's stupid. I know you probably have 100. There's no one. Jiwoo sat up, his full attention on her now. There hasn't been anyone in a very long time. Why not? Because I learned the hard way that people close to me get hurt. His voice was raw. And I swore I'd never put someone I cared about in that position again. There it was, that story, finally surfacing. What happened? Cassidy asked gently. Jiwoo was quiet for so long she thought he wouldn't answer. Then, I was 23, in love with a girl who saw the best in everyone, including me. Her name was Yuna. He said the name like it hurt. She knew what my family did, knew the dangers, didn't care, said love was worth the risk. Cassidy's throat tightened. What happened to her? My enemies used her to get to me. Jiwoo's hands clenched into fists. They took her, hurt her. By the time I found her… He stopped, swallowed hard. She survived. Barely, but she was never the same. And she left. Told me she couldn't love someone whose world came with that much blood. I'm sorry. Don't be. She was right. Jiwoo looked at Cassidy, and the pain in his eyes was staggering. I should have let her go from the beginning, should have been strong enough to walk away, but I was young and stupid and convinced I could protect her. I couldn't. Cassidy understood then, understood why he'd saved her from Minya, why he kept his distance, even while clearly wanting to be close. Why he'd given her freedom, along with protection. That's why you helped me, she said quietly. Why you're so careful not to trap me? You deserve someone safe. Jiwoo's voice was barely above a whisper. Someone who can give you a normal life. But I'm too selfish to completely walk away. So I'm giving you space to choose, and if you choose to run, I won't stop you. Cassidy's heart was racing. This man, this powerful, dangerous man, was laying himself bare, giving her power over him, trusting her with his deepest wound. What if I don't want to run? She heard herself say. Jiwoo went very still. Cassidy, what if I want to stay? What if I want to know you? All of you. Even the dangerous parts. You don't know what you're asking. So tell me. She shifted closer, close enough to feel the heat of him. Tell me everything. Let me decide for myself. Jiwoo looked at her like she was something precious and breakable. His hand lifted, cupped her face with a gentleness that made her breath catch. My family, he said slowly, is what most people would call organized crime. We control shipping lanes, construction contracts, politics. We make problems disappear. We protect our own and destroy our enemies. It's been this way for 3 generations. Cassidy held his gaze. The underworld. If you want the simple word, yes. Jiwoo's thumb brushed her cheek. I inherited this life. I tried to make it cleaner, more legitimate. But some stains don't wash out. Some debts can't be paid, and some enemies will always want me dead. Are you in danger now? Always. He said it so matter-of-factly. There are people who'd give anything to see me fall, who'd hurt anyone close to me, just to watch me suffer. Being with me means accepting that reality. And if I accept it anyway? Jiwoo's eyes searched hers. Then you're braver than I deserve. Cassidy leaned into his touch, heart pounding. Or maybe I'm just tired of being afraid. Maybe I'd rather face danger with you than safety alone. Jiwoo kissed her forehead, soft and reverent. You should think about this. Really think. Don't make decisions based on gratitude or, it's not gratitude. Cassidy held his gaze. I don't know what it is yet, but it's not that. Then what is it? I don't know, she admitted. All I know is that I feel safer with you than I've felt with anyone. And maybe that's crazy, considering what you just told me. But it's true. Jiwoo stood abruptly, putting distance between them. He walked to the window, shoulders tense. I should go, he said roughly. Why? Because if I stay, he turned to face her, and the look in his eyes made her breath stop. If I stay, I'm going to want things I have no right to want, and you deserve better than my selfishness. What if I want your selfishness, Cassidy? Her name was almost a groan. You don't understand what you're offering. Then show me. She stood, moved closer but didn't touch. Show me what it means to be close to you, not the danger or the politics, just you. Jiwoo looked at her for a long moment, something like war happening behind his eyes. Then his shoulders dropped, resignation and relief mixing together. All right, he said quietly, but we do this my way. Slow, careful, and the moment you want out, you tell me. No guilt, no obligation. Understood? Understood. I mean it, Cassidy. This life, it's not a drama. It's not some movie. It's real consequences and real danger and real blood. I know. Do you? Jiwoo stepped closer, his voice intense. Because once you're in my world, once people know you matter to me, there's no going back. You become a target, a weakness they'll exploit. Then we'll be careful, Cassidy said, more confident than she felt. Jiwoo laughed, but there was no humor in it. Careful. God, I used to think I could be careful too. What changed? I realized that love doesn't care about careful. He reached out, tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. It just happens, despite every logical reason it shouldn't. Cassidy's heart stuttered. Love? Jiwoo's hand dropped. I'm getting ahead of myself. Are you? Cassidy. He looked torn, vulnerable in a way she'd never seen. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to let someone in without destroying them. Maybe you don't have to know. She took his hand, felt him tense. Maybe we just figure it out together. Jiwoo's fingers tightened around hers. You're going to regret this. Maybe. Probably. She smiled. But I want to find out for myself. He pulled her closer then, not quite an embrace, but close enough that she could feel his heartbeat. Fast, unsteady, human. I'll try, he said against her hair. I'll try not to ruin this, but my track record isn't great. Good thing I'm not asking for perfect. Jiwoo laughed softly, and she felt the tension in him ease slightly. They stood like that for a long moment, just breathing together, and Cassidy thought maybe this was enough. Maybe this careful, fragile beginning was exactly what they both needed. The next few weeks changed everything. Jiwoo started showing up more often, staying longer, letting his guard down in small but significant ways. He told her about his childhood, about the father who'd taught him power through fear, about the mother who'd died of illness too young. He showed her parts of Seoul tourists never saw, little pojangmacha stalls near Cheonggyecheon Stream that he'd visited since childhood, a temple on the hillside above Bukchon that most people walked straight past, and slowly, carefully, Cassidy started to fall. It wasn't dramatic, wasn't sudden, just a gradual shift from curiosity to comfort to something deeper. She found herself watching the door at 7 o'clock, knowing he'd probably show up, found herself saving funny stories to tell him, found herself caring about his opinions, his moods, his rare smiles. You're different, Junho observed one afternoon. Happier. Am I? Mr. Kang is different too. Junho smiled. Less. Sharp. More human. He's always been human. To you. Yes. To the rest of us. Junho shrugged. He's the boss. Respected. Feared. But not really seen. You see him. Cassidy thought about that. It was true. Jiwoo showed her parts of himself he kept hidden from everyone else. The way he checked his phone obsessively when his younger sister called. The fact that he had a terrible sweet tooth for bingsu. The way he'd spent 2 hours last week helping an elderly haraboji carry groceries up 4 flights of stairs, refusing thanks. He's a good man, she said softly. Yes, Junho agreed. But also a dangerous one. Don't forget that. She couldn't forget even if she tried. Because for all the soft moments, there were reminders. Phone calls Jiwoo took in another room, his voice cold and commanding. The way people approached him on the street, with problems that weren't quite legal. The night she'd seen blood on his knuckles, and he'd changed the subject before she could ask. But she'd made her choice. She was in this, whatever kandra. This was. Everything was going smoothly until the clouds gathered again. Minjae came back. Cassidy was at the market in Mangwon-dong, picking out vegetables for dinner, when she felt someone watching her. She looked up, and there he was. Thinner than she remembered, with hard eyes and a smile that made her skin crawl. Hey, babe, Minjae said casually, like the last month hadn't happened. Miss me? Cassidy's blood ran cold. She looked around for Junho, for anyone who might help, but the market was crowded, and she was alone. Stay away from me, she managed. Or what? Minjae stepped closer. You'll call your Korean boyfriend? Oh wait, where is he? Probably busy with his actual life, right? While you're just his charity case. The words hit harder than they should have. Cassidy had wondered the same thing late at night. Why was Jiwoo spending time with her? What did he really want? He cares about me, she said, voice shaking. Does he? Minjae grabbed her arm. Same place as before, same bruising grip. Because I did some research on Kang Jiwoo. You know what he is? What he does? And you think a man like that cares about some black girl? Let go of me. We're leaving now. Before this gets ugly. Minjae started pulling her toward the exit. Cassidy tried to scream, but Minjae's hand clamped over her mouth. People were staring now, but no one intervened. No one wanted to get involved. Terror clawed at her throat. Minjae was going to take her somewhere, hurt her, and Jiwoo wouldn't know until it was too late. Almost immediately, Minjae went flying, followed by a crack of gunfire. People began to scatter away in terror. 1 second he was holding her. The next he was on the ground, blood streaming from his nose. Jiwoo stood over him, breathing hard, eyes absolutely murderous. "I told you," Jiwoo said quietly. "What would happen if you came back?" Minjae scrambled backward. "This is assault!" "I'll call the police." "Call them." Jiwoo pulled out his phone. Dialed. Spoke in rapid Korean. Hung up. "They'll be here in 3 minutes. And when they arrive, they'll find a man violating a restraining order, assaulting a woman in public, and resisting arrest." "I didn't resist." "You will." Jiwoo's smile was terrifying. "Trust me." Minjae looked at Cassidy, then at Jiwoo, then at the growing crowd of people who were absolutely not going to help him. He got to his feet, tried to run. Junho appeared out of nowhere, blocking his exit. 2 other men Cassidy had never seen flanked the other side. "Jiwoo, please." Minjae's voice broke. "You had 1 chance to leave quietly. 1. Jiwoo moved toward him, and Minjae actually whimpered. "I gave you a way out, a plane ticket, a warning, a life, and you came back. You touched her again. You are the bad guy here. You stole my woman from me. Who do you think you are?" Minjae spat blood from his bleeding gum. "Your woman? Who gave you the right to call her that?" Jiwoo growled like a lion. "You threatened her in my city. Put your hands on someone under my protection." Jiwoo's voice was barely controlled rage. "Do you understand what that means?" He clicked his gun. Minjae was shaking now, fright gripping him. "I'm sorry. I'll leave. I'll never come back." Too late. Jiwoo was about to pull his trigger when a voice stopped him. "Jiwoo, please stop," Cassidy yelled. He froze, his hands trembling as he looked down on the fright-struck Minjae. "Please, baby. You are trying to be a better person. This is not the way to go about this. Please listen to me," Cassidy pleaded. For a moment, everyone froze, including Junho. Jiwoo never listens when he's at the peak of his rage, but to everyone's surprise, he dropped his rifle and turned to Junho. "Make sure he leaves town, and if he ever returns to Korea." He didn't finish the sentence. Didn't need to. Junho and the others escorted Minjae out, the man stumbling and crying. Cassidy stood frozen, trying to process what just happened. Jiwoo turned to her, and his expression shifted from rage to concern in an instant. "Are you hurt?" His hands were gentle as he checked her arm, her face. "Did he hurt you?" "I'm fine." Her voice didn't sound fine. "How did you know?" "I had people watching the market. They called the moment they saw him." Jiwoo pulled her close, and she could feel him trembling. "I should have made sure he couldn't come back." His voice was rough against her hair. "I wanted to. God, I wanted to." "Jiwoo!" She called him back to calm. "I'm okay now. He's gone." Cassidy nodded, staring into his eyes to keep him calm. Jiwoo held her, right there in the middle of Mangwon Market, not caring who saw. When he finally got control of himself, he guided her to his car. "I'm taking you home," he said. "Your home or mine?" "Yours. Unless you'd rather," he hesitated, "unless you'd feel safer at mine." Cassidy thought about her apartment, suddenly feeling small and vulnerable. "Yours, if that's okay." Relief flickered across Jiwoo's face. "More than okay." If you are enjoying this adrenaline rush from the entire action, appreciate our efforts by liking and subscribing to the channel. Your feedback and energy means a lot to us. His home was a revelation. She'd expected opulence and coldness, something intimidating. Instead, she found warmth. Books everywhere. Comfortable furniture. Framed family photos on the shelf beside stacks of strategy reports. It was lived in. Real. Human. "Surprised?" Jiwoo asked, watching her reaction. "Yes." Cassidy touched a photo of a younger Jiwoo with an older woman. "Your mother?" "Yes. She died when I was 15. His voice was soft. "She made my father promise to send me to university, get me out of this life. He tried. I came back anyway." "Why?" Jiwoo sighed. "Because I thought I could change things. Make the family business something better, and maybe I have, a little. But mostly," he looked at her, "mostly I just became what I was always meant to be. And what's that? Someone caught between 2 worlds. Not quite good, not quite evil. Just trying. Cassidy moved closer, took his hand. I think you're good. Jiwoo laughed bitterly. You don't know all I've done. I almost killed a man in your presence. I know enough. She squeezed his fingers. I know you saved me. I know you protect people who can't protect themselves. I know you're trying to be better than your past. That's enough for me. Jiwoo pulled her into a proper embrace then, tight and desperate. I can't lose you, he whispered. I know I don't have the right to say that. I know we're not, that this isn't, but I can't lose you, Cassidy. You won't. You can't promise that. Neither can you. She pulled back to look at him. But we can try. We can be careful and smart and, I love you. The words hung in the air between them, shocking them both. Jiwoo closed his eyes. I didn't mean to say that. Shh. Cassidy held her finger over his lips. You don't have to lie to yourself. He looked at her, vulnerable and raw. God help me. Okay, fine. I'm in love with you. I fell in love the moment I saw you at that restaurant, and I tried to stop, tried to keep my distance, but I couldn't. I love you, and it's probably going to destroy us both. Cassidy's heart was hammering so hard she could barely hear her own thoughts. What if it doesn't? She said, keeping her eyes glued to his. What if it does? Then at least we'll have tried. She reached up, touched his face. I'm falling too. Jiwoo, I don't know if it's love yet, but it's something real and terrifying, and I don't want to run from it. Jiwoo pecked her forehead, soft and reverent. You should. Probably, she smiled. But you won't. No, she smiled against his chest. I won't. He pulled her closer then, and she felt his heartbeat against her cheek. I'll try, he said against her hair. I'll try not to ruin this. Jiwoo stroked her hair softly, and she felt the tension in him ease slightly. They stood like that for a long moment, just breathing together, and Cassidy thought maybe this was enough. Maybe this careful, fragile beginning was exactly what they both needed. 3 days later, everything changed. The threat came through the mail, a plain envelope addressed to Jiwoo, delivered to his office. Inside, photos of Cassidy, at the market, at her apartment, walking with Jiwoo along the Han River. And a note, she's easier to reach than you think. Jiwoo's hands shook as he showed her the envelope. They were at his place, sharing dinner, and suddenly, the world felt fragile again. Who sent this? Cassidy asked, trying to keep her voice steady. Old enemies, new rivals, could be anyone. Jiwoo's jaw was tight. I made a lot of people angry when I started legitimizing the family business. Cutting off revenue streams tends to do that. What do they want? Me to back down, return to the old ways, or, he looked at her, they want to hurt me by hurting you. Cassidy's stomach dropped. So, Minjae was just the beginning. Minjae was a nuisance. This, Jiwoo gestured to the photos. This is war, so what do we do? Cassidy panicked a bit. We don't do anything. Jiwoo stood, started pacing. You go somewhere safe. America, maybe. Somewhere they can't reach you. I'm not leaving. Cassidy dropped her spoon. Cassidy, I'm not leaving. She stood too, crossed her arms. You don't get to make that choice for me. This isn't about choice. It's about survival. Then we survive together. Cassidy moved to block his pacing. You said I could choose, remember? You promised not to trap me. That was before someone threatened your life. And I'm still choosing to stay. She grabbed his arms, made him look at her. I'm not running, Jiwoo. Not from this. Not from you. You should. His voice cracked. You should hate me for dragging you into this. But I don't. Cassidy's throat tightened. I love you. Jiwoo went completely still. What? I love you. The words came easier the second time. I know it's fast. I know it's probably stupid, but I do. I love you, and I'm not leaving you to face this alone. Jiwoo pulled her against him so hard she couldn't breathe. Say it again. I love you. Again. I love you, Kang Jiwoo, and you're stuck with me. He kissed her then, not on the forehead or cheek, but properly, desperately, like she was air and he was drowning. Cassidy kissed him back, pouring everything she felt into it. Fear and love and determination all tangled together. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Jiwoo rested his forehead against hers. "I'm going to keep you safe," he promised. "Whatever it takes, we'll keep each other safe." "Cassidy, partners," she insisted. "We do this together, or not at all." Jiwoo pulled back, studied her face. "You're serious." "Completely." He closed his eyes, warring with himself, then nodded. "All right. Together. But you follow my lead on security, no arguments. No arguments. And you stay close. No solo market trips, no wandering off. Junho, or someone I trust, is with you always. Okay. And if I say run, you run. No hesitation. No looking back." Cassidy hesitated on that one. "Jiwoo, that's my condition." His voice was firm. "You want to stay? Fine. But if things go bad, you save yourself. I need to know you'll do that." She didn't want to agree. Every instinct screamed against leaving him in danger, but the look in his eyes. "Okay," she whispered. "If things go bad, I'll run." Jiwoo exhaled, relief and dread mixing together. "Thank you." The next few days were tense. Jiwoo moved her into his home permanently, said it was easier to protect. Cassidy found herself surrounded by security, by men in dark suits who appeared and disappeared like ghosts. She couldn't go anywhere without an escort. It should have felt like a cage. Instead, it felt like Jiwoo wrapping her in layers of protection, desperate and determined to keep her safe. But the threats kept coming. More photos, cryptic messages, a brick through the window of her old apartment with a note, "Wrong address." "They're playing with us," Jiwoo said one night, staring at the latest message. "Building fear before they strike." When will they strike? Soon. He looked at her, and she saw the weight he was carrying. "I'm meeting with the families tomorrow, trying to negotiate peace. Will it work? Probably not, but I have to try." He pulled her close. "I'm tired of this life, Cassidy. Tired of the violence and the politics and the blood. I've spent 20 years trying to make things better, and all I've done is create new enemies." "So stop," Jiwoo laughed bitterly. "It's not that simple." "Why not?" "Because if I step down, everything I've built falls apart. The legitimate businesses, the protections I've put in place for civilians, the agreements that keep the peace. It all depends on me being in charge. There has to be another way. If there is, I haven't found it." Jiwoo pressed his lips to her hair. "But I'm looking, because I can't do this forever, and I can't ask you to live this life." "You're not asking. I'm choosing. For now. But what about next year? 10 years from now? When you want a normal life, a family, normal problems?" Cassidy pulled back to look at him. "Is that what you want? A family?" Jiwoo's expression softened. "With you?" "Yes. God, yes. But not like this. Not with armed guards and death threats and constant fear. Then we'll find a way out." She kissed him gently. Together. The family meeting was a disaster. Jiwoo came home that night with blood on his shirt and fury in his eyes. Not his blood, he assured her quickly. But someone had tried to attack him during negotiations. Junho had intervened, and now 3 people were dead. "It's escalating," Jiwoo said, pouring himself a glass of water with shaking hands. "They're not interested in peace. They want war." "Who are they?" "The O organization. They've been trying to take over Kang territory for years. I thought I had them contained, but..." He set down the glass. "They've allied with the Shin network. Together, they're strong enough to challenge me." Cassidy felt ice in her veins. "What does that mean?" "It means we're outnumbered, outgunned, and they know it." Jiwoo looked at her. "I'm sending you to America tomorrow." "No, Cassidy." "I said no." She stood her ground. "You promised we'd do this together. That was before tonight." Jiwoo's voice rose, desperate. "This is real now. They're coming for me, and anyone close to me is a target. I can't protect you here. You can't protect me anywhere if they really want me dead." Cassidy's voice shook, but stayed firm. Sending me away just means I'm alone and vulnerable. At least here, I have you. I have Junho. I have people who care. You have a target on your back. So do you. She grabbed his hands. And I'm not leaving you to face that alone. I love you. Don't you understand? I'd rather face danger with you than live without you. Jiwoo pulled her against him, and she felt him shaking. Don't say that. God, don't ever say that. It's true. It shouldn't be. He held her tighter. You should want to live. You should choose life over me. I'm choosing both. Cassidy pulled back, looked him in the eyes. We'll find a way through this. We'll outsmart them, outmaneuver them, whatever it takes. But we do it together. Jiwoo searched her face, looking for doubt. Finding none, he kissed her desperately. All right, he whispered against her lips, together. But if I tell you to run, I'll run. She kissed him back. I promise. They stayed up all night, planning and strategizing. Jiwoo called in favors, made alliances, prepared for the fight ahead. And through it all, Cassidy stayed by his side, refusing to be sent away. The attack came 3 days later. They were at Jiwoo's office near Yoido, reviewing security footage, when gunfire erupted outside. Jiwoo shoved Cassidy under his desk, his body shielding hers. Stay down, he ordered, drawing his weapon. Cassidy's heart hammered as she heard shouting. More gunfire, screams. This was real. This was actually happening. Junho burst through the door. Back exit, now! Jiwoo hauled Cassidy up, kept her behind him as they moved. The hallway was chaos. Men fighting, blood on the marble floors, smoke burning her lungs. But Jiwoo moved with absolute certainty, never hesitating. They made it to the garage. A black Genesis was waiting, engine running. Jiwoo pushed Cassidy into the back seat, slid in beside her as Junho took the wheel. Bullets hit the car as they peeled out. Cassidy screamed, couldn't help it. Jiwoo pulled her down, covered her with his body as glass exploded around them. Drive, Jiwoo shouted to Junho. Where? The safe house. Go! They drove for what felt like hours. Cassidy couldn't stop shaking. Jiwoo held her the entire time, whispering reassurances she could barely hear over her racing thoughts. The safe house was a villa in the hills south of the city. Remote, defensible, stocked with supplies. Jiwoo carried Cassidy inside despite her protests that she could walk. You're in shock, he said gently, setting her on a couch. Just breathe. Junho was on the phone, checking casualties. His face was grim. How many? Jiwoo asked. 7 of ours. 15 of theirs. Junho's voice was flat. They're regrouping for another attack. How long do we have? Hours, maybe? They know about this place. Jiwoo's jaw tightened. He looked at Cassidy, and she saw the decision forming in his eyes. No, she said immediately. You don't know what I'm thinking. Yes, I do. And the answer is no. Jiwoo knelt in front of her, took her hands. Cassidy, listen to me. This is the end. One way or another, this ends tonight. And I need you somewhere safe. Then we all go somewhere safe. There is no safe, not anymore, his voice cracked. They want me dead, and they'll kill anyone in their way, including you. Then let me fight with you. You're not a fighter. Jiwoo cupped her face. You're good and kind, and you see the best in people. That's what I love about you. But this world, it's going to destroy that. It's going to destroy you. Cassidy's throat burned with unshed tears. So what are you saying? I'm saying I love you too much to watch that happen. Jiwoo pulled something from his jacket. A passport, money, papers. Junho's going to take you to Japan. From there, you fly to America. There's enough money here to start over, build a new life. Without you. Without me. His voice broke on the words. I'm sorry. God, I'm so sorry. But this is the only way I can save you. By breaking my heart. Tears streamed down her face. By making me leave when you need me most? By giving you a chance at life. Jiwoo kissed her forehead, her cheeks, catching her tears. Please, love. Please let me do this one good thing. Jiwoo, I love you. He pressed the papers into her hands. I love you more than anything. Remember that. Whatever happens next, remember that you were loved. The way he said it, like a goodbye. Like he didn't expect to survive the night. No, Cassidy whispered. No. You don't get to do this. You don't get to make me fall in love with you and then send me away to die. I'm not dying. But his eyes said otherwise. Liar. She grabbed his shirt. You're planning something. Something stupid and noble, and I'm ending this. Jiwoo's voice was steady now, resolved. I'm going to give them what they want. Me, in exchange for leaving you alone. Horror flooded through her. That's suicide. That's love. He smiled sadly. I told you I'd destroy anything to keep you safe. Even myself. I won't let you. You don't have a choice. Jiwoo stood, nodded to Junho. Get her out of here, now. Junho moved forward, apologetic but determined. Cassidy fought, screamed, begged. But Junho was stronger, and Jiwoo wouldn't meet her eyes as she was carried away. The last thing she saw was Jiwoo standing alone in the safe house, looking like a man preparing for his own execution. Cassidy didn't stop fighting until they were halfway to Gimhae. Then she went quiet, thinking, planning. I need your phone, she told Junho. No, I'm not calling Jiwoo. She held out her hand. I'm calling someone who can help him. Junho hesitated, then handed it over. Cassidy didn't know many of Jiwoo's contacts, but she knew one. His younger sister, Kang Soyeon, who lived in Busan and occasionally called to check on her brother. The phone rang 3 times before a woman answered. Junho? Is Oppa. He's about to get himself killed, Cassidy interrupted. And I need your help to stop him. Silence. Then, who is this? Cassidy. Jiwoo's we're together. Or we were. Before he decided to martyr himself. Ah, Soyeon's voice was knowing. So you're the girl who made my brother human again. Can you help him or not? What's he planning? Cassidy explained quickly. The O organization. The Shin network. Jiwoo's plan to trade himself for peace. Soyeon cursed in Korean. Idiot. Noble idiot, but still an idiot. Can you stop him? Me? No. He won't listen to me. A pause. But he might listen to you. He sent me away. Because he loves you. Because he's terrified of losing someone else. Soyeon's voice softened. He told you about Yuna? Yes. Then you know he's been carrying that guilt for 20 years, convinced he destroys everything he loves. Soyeon sighed. He needs to hear that he's wrong, that this time can be different. How? I'm halfway to Busan. Turn around. He'll just send me away again. Not if you show up with backup. Soyeon's voice turned calculating. The O organization and the Shin network aren't the only players in Korea. Some of us still remember what Jiwoo did to clean up this city, what he risked to protect civilians. He's owed. Hope sparked in Cassidy's chest. You'll help? We'll help. But Cassidy, Soyeon's voice turned serious. This will be dangerous. People will die. Maybe even Jiwoo. Are you prepared for that? I'm prepared to fight for him. Cassidy's voice didn't shake. Whatever it takes. Good. Give the phone back to Junho. Cassidy handed it over. Heard Junho speaking rapid Korean. His expression shifted from shock to determination to something like respect. When he hung up, he looked at Cassidy. You're sure about this? Completely. Mr. Kang won't be happy. Mr. Kang can be mad at me when he's alive. She crossed her arms. Turn the car around, Junho. He did. They met Soyeon at a warehouse on the outskirts of the city. She looked like a female version of Jiwoo, all sharp edges and quiet power, with 36 loyal men behind her. You must be Cassidy, Soyeon said, looking her up and down. You're braver than you look. Or stupider, Soyeon laughed. Both, probably. Come, we have work to do. The plan was insane, dangerous, likely to get them all killed, but it was a chance, and Cassidy would take any chance over sitting safely in America while Jiwoo died. They'd hit the O and Shin operations simultaneously, divide their forces, create chaos. And while they were distracted, Cassidy would reach Jiwoo, convince him to retreat, to run, to choose life over sacrifice. He won't listen, Soyeon warned. Once my brother decides to be noble, he's impossible. Then I'll make him listen. Cassidy checked the bulletproof vest Junho had given her. It felt heavy and terrifying and necessary. He said, I make the world quieter for him. Maybe that works both ways. Soyeon studied her with sharp eyes. You really love him? Yes. Even knowing what he is, what he's done? Especially knowing. Cassidy met her gaze. He's not perfect, he deemed, but he's trying to be better. That's all anyone can ask. Soyeon smiled. I see why he chose you. The attack happened at midnight. Soyeon's forces hit the U compound with precision. Cassidy rode with Junho, heart in her throat, heading for the Shin Operations building, where Jiwoo was supposedly offering his surrender. Stay in the car, Junho ordered as they approached. Not a chance. Cassidy, I'm going in. She grabbed a spare weapon from the glove box. You can help me or not, but I'm going. Junho cursed, but he didn't stop her. The building was chaos. Gunfire, shouting, men running everywhere. Junho cleared a path, and Cassidy followed, focusing on just putting one foot in front of the other. They found Jiwoo in a conference room, surrounded by 5 armed men with weapons aimed at his head. He looked tired, resigned, and absolutely shocked when Cassidy burst through the door. What are you doing here? He roared. Saving you, apparently. Cassidy aimed her weapon with shaking hands. She'd never fired a gun in her life, but they didn't need to know that. Let him go. The men laughed. One of them, older, with cold eyes, stepped forward. The black girl, he sneered. Kang, you've gone soft, bringing your weakness into a war. She's not my weakness. Jiwoo's voice was ice. And if you hurt her, there's nowhere you can hide. Big threats from a dead man. The boss gestured to his men. Kill them both. Everything happened at once. Junho opened fire from the doorway. Soyeon's forces crashed through the windows, and Cassidy threw herself at Jiwoo, knocking him down as bullets flew overhead. They hit the ground hard. Jiwoo, twisting to take the impact. For a second, they just stared at each other. You're supposed to be in Japan, he said. I don't do what I'm supposed to do. She kissed him quick. Get used to it. Jiwoo laughed, actually laughed, in the middle of a firefight. Then he was moving, pulling her behind cover, returning fire with deadly accuracy. The fight was over in minutes. Soyeon's men were better trained, better prepared. The Shin boss lay defeated, his men surrendering. Jiwoo stood slowly, looking at his sister. What are you doing here? He asked. Saving your idiotic life. Soyeon kicked a weapon away from a surrendering man. You're welcome. I had it under control. You were about to die. To protect her. Jiwoo gestured at Cassidy. To keep her safe. She doesn't want safe, Soyeon shot back. She wants you, alive, stubborn man. Jiwoo looked at Cassidy, something breaking in his expression. You should have left. Yeah, well. Cassidy walked over to him, ignoring the chaos around them. I'm not great at listening either. You could have died. So could you. She grabbed his shirt. That was your plan, wasn't it? Die nobly. Keep me safe. Let me live with that guilt forever. Well, screw that, Jiwoo. Screw your martyrdom and your noble sacrifice. I'd rather have you alive and imperfect than dead and perfect. Cassidy, I love you. She was crying now. Couldn't help it. I love you, and I'm not leaving, and you're stuck with me. So either accept that or Jiwoo pulled her into his arms, holding her so tight she couldn't breathe. Or what? Or I'll follow you into hell and drag you back out. She sobbed against his chest. Whatever it takes, I'm not losing you. You're insane. Probably. Reckless. Definitely. Perfect. Jiwoo tilted her face up, kissed her desperately. You're absolutely perfect. Soyeon cleared her throat. As touching as this is, we should probably leave before more of them show up. Jiwoo nodded, keeping Cassidy close as they moved. Outside, dawn was breaking over the city, painting the Seoul skyline in shades of orange and pink. It's over, Soyeon said. The O organization surrendered when they heard about the Shins. They're accepting your terms for peace. What terms? Jiwoo asked. The ones I negotiated on your behalf. Soyeon smirked. You get to retire. Live quietly. No more wars. No more violence. In exchange, your territories go to a neutral council. Everyone wins. Jiwoo stared at her. You gave away my power? I gave you a life. Soyeon's voice softened. You've spent 20 years cleaning up our family's mess. You've earned peace, Appa. Take it. Jiwoo looked at Cassidy, then back at his sister. What's the catch? No catch. Just be happy. That's all I've ever wanted for you. Jiwoo pulled Soyeon into a hug that surprised them both. Thank you. Thank your girl. She's the one who called me. Soyeon stepped back, wiped her eyes. Now get out of here. I'll handle the rest. Jiwoo guided Cassidy to a car and drove them to a quiet guest house near Bukhansan. Inside, they collapsed onto the couch together, exhausted and alive. I can't believe you came back, Jiwoo said, stroking her hair. I can't believe you tried to send me away. Cassidy looked up at him. Don't ever do that again. I was trying to protect you. Protect me by staying alive. She kissed his jaw. That's all I need. Jiwoo was quiet for a long moment. I'm out. Really out. No more crime. No more power. No more danger. Just me. Is that enough? More than enough. Cassidy smiled. I fell in love with you, not your power. You fell in love with a man who controlled a criminal organization. I fell in love with a man who saved me, protected me, and tried to give me freedom, even when it cost him everything. She cupped his face. The rest is just details. Jiwoo kissed her then, soft and sweet and full of promise. They stayed like that as the sun rose higher, planning a future without violence or fear. Jiwoo called his lawyers, started the process of legitimizing his businesses, setting up the neutral council. Cassidy watched him work, amazed at how quickly he could dismantle an empire when he wanted to. What will you do now? She asked. I've always wanted to teach. Jiwoo looked almost shy. History, Korean politics maybe, at a university. Professor Kang. Cassidy grinned. I like it. And you? What do you want? She thought about it. About the girl who'd arrived in Seoul a year ago, trapped and scared. About the woman she'd become. I want to write, she said finally. Tell stories. Maybe help other women in situations like mine. I can make that happen. I know you can, she kissed him. But I want to do it myself. Build something that's mine. Jiwoo's smile was proud. Then we'll both start over. Together. Together, Cassidy agreed. The months that followed were beautiful, like the end of fairy tales. Jiwoo actually retired, handed over his territories, walked away from power like it meant nothing. Because to him, it didn't, not anymore. 6 months later, Jiwoo proposed to Cassidy. Nothing fancy, just the two of them in their apartment, samgyeopsal on the grill, and a ring he'd had made at a small jeweler in Insadong. Marry me, he said simply. Build this life with me, forever. Cassidy said yes before he finished the sentence, hugging him so tight after he slid the ring into her finger. Thank you, he said. For what? For saving me, for refusing to run, for being stubborn and brave and perfect. I'm not perfect. To me you are. He kissed her temple. You gave me a reason to want more than power. You gave me a reason to want life. Cassidy's throat tightened. You gave me those things too. You showed me I deserved better, that I was worth protecting. You've always been worth protecting. Jiwoo's voice was fierce. Always. They held each other as night fell over Seoul. Outside, the city hummed with life and possibility. But here, in this moment, Cassidy felt safe. Love doesn't always arrive with fanfare. Sometimes it comes in the quiet moments, in the steady presence of someone who refuses to let you face the darkness alone. Kang Jiwoo and Cassidy's story teaches us that real strength is choosing vulnerability over walls, that protection isn't about control but about trust, and that the deepest love often blooms in the most unexpected places. No matter what you're facing, remember, You deserve someone who'll fight for you, not against you. Someone who sees your worth even when you can't. If you enjoyed this story, kindly like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Help us build this channel by supporting the stories we put. See you in the next one.